Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Stranded Survivors. My name is Matt, and I am your lonely co-host today. Jericho is still out doing his backpacking and hiking stuff, and he's going to be gone for the rest of this week. So I'm going to continue on without him, which means I get to go rogue again. And I put it up for a vote in the Discord whether you guys wanted a 7 Days to Die episode or an Ark episode, and it was 50-50. So that means I get to choose. All jokes aside, though, quick update on the Ark side of things. I'm not even going to lie, man. I haven't played Ark in a really long time. And it started off as a fun little, man, I'm burned out, blah, 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 blah. And it just, it's escalated to more than that. So I'm expanding my game library. Jericho's been expanding his game library. And we're trying to hit this 1 year mark for being an Ark podcast. And then once we hit the 1 year mark, we are sort of going to rebrand and revisit what things are going to look like. So stay tuned and stick with us here, but things are going to look a little bit different after we hit our anniversary mark. So season 3, when it comes out, just fair warning, I'm not going to reveal too much of our cards, but things are going to be pretty different. So bear with us here, and I look forward to hearing feedback from you guys. Ow, my cat's biting my toe. Ow. Okay, we're back. So I look forward to hearing feedback from you guys on that. But that being said, I'm sure most of you have noticed, if you've been playing on our unofficial servers, it was pulled down. We have canceled the server and sort of decided that the amount that's being paid for it isn't really justifying the amount of people that were playing on it consistently. So we shut those bad boys down, and again, this is all stuff that can be revisited in the future, but for right now, we're trying to figure things out. So yeah, there's all that, but enough of that stuff. I will wait for Jericho to come back next week, and we can sort of talk about everything together. But for this week, I want to find something to teach you guys. Now 7 Days to Die and Ark are very different games stylistically, but there's a lot of comparative crossover here. The main focus is survival, and it just is coming in different flavors, if that makes sense. There are different priorities and a different focus. So all of you are pretty aware with how the beginning of being a beach bob works, right? Everybody makes their little thatch hut in the middle of the beach, and you're hiding from Trodons, and you're hiding from compies, and all those fun things. Well, in 7 Days to Die, there's a handful of different zombies. Some of them have armor, some of them are harder to kill, some of them hit harder and can stun you. There's a lot of different types coming at you, you know what I mean? So just like the different dinos in Ark, there is not just one creature coming at you this entire time. So on the first night, you just get into the game, it's going to load you in on a brand new server at noon or something like that, and you have until nighttime when the sun falls. Depending on what your game setting is, that's usually 10 p.m. in game or something like that. But when night falls, the zombies no longer are shambling around like a bunch of Walking Dead ding-dongs. They're now running all crazy willy-nilly like some World War Z style stuff. And that's when all the craziness comes out. So nighttime is terrifying. That's not the time to be out. I would compare being in the ocean, not on a tame, just swimming around in scuba gear, is about as dangerous as hanging out at nighttime outside without a base in the beginning of the game. So, you got to figure something out. The two main options for the first night, I mean, really, if you think about it, just like being a beach bob in Ark, you can make yourself a cute little wood, fixture, you know what I mean? A little 3x3 wooden structure that you can climb up in and hide and make a little campfire and do what you got to do for the night. You got to be careful with where you set that up, because wood's not easy to defend and it is easy to destroy. So heads up, if the zombies are outside, they're going to take it down pretty quickly. But what I prefer to do is to find an existing POI. So the points of interest in this game, there's a lot of prefabbed buildings. They'll all actually be named, which is kind of nice, because then oh man, the McCreary residence, I already hit that, but I haven't hit the McStabby residence. It's a real name in the game, believe it or not. So if you haven't searched the McStabby house, then you got to hit it. Then you got 5 days to come back, and then the loot will be there again. So my preferred way of handling the first couple days is to find a point of interest that is already existent in the game. Somebody's house, a store, something like that. And maybe go live on the roof, go live in the basement, go underground, do what you got to do that's going to have you be well hidden for a couple nights here. So that's a good spot for you to set up a storage container. Again, just like Ark, you got to find your own little living quarter that you can put. In this game, instead of a bed, it's a sleeping bag. So you got to put a sleeping bag down. Well, I guess you can put a bed down too, but in the early game, it's a sleeping bag. So you got to get your sleeping bag down. That allows you, a bedroll they call it, that allows you to respawn consistently. So it's not like Ark where it's a one and done thing. Like this bedroll counts as a simple bed, I would say. So you got to get that down. Otherwise, you're going to respawn randomly in the world, and that's not fun to have to hike back. So make sure you get yourself all set up for the night, right? Now, that is a place that you can hang out. Like, I think Joe Daddy and I in our server, we started off in our little beach bob base in the basement of the hospital. And we still have a handful of things there. We still, like, base out of there as far as storage containers go, as far as our cooking and crafting quarters go. Like, that is all still in our original POI that we were hiding in from night one. However, we're in the process of, I don't want to make it sound like we haven't done jack diddly, because we're in the process of transferring everything from that base all the way over to this new bunker that we're building. Like, we dug into a tunnel underground, and after it went down into this long tunnel, like downhill, then straightens out to this really long straightaway that's completely lined with concrete. And then at the back, it's got this big open, like, T shape that one side goes down to bedrooms, one side goes into, like, this whole area that I mined out underground. It's ginormous, and we're going to turn it into this super impenetrable compound filled with, like, machine guns and sentry turrets and all these defenses that you guys are familiar with in Ark, right? So there is a PvP aspect to this game. Now, we play on an online server, but we keep it private, so, you know, no strangers jumping in there. It's got to be one of our friends to play. You can play with randoms. We can play with more of you guys. Like, we can get these things going, you know what I mean? And there is a PvP aspect to it if you want, but it doesn't have to be. That's part of the settings of the game. Like, that's as you set it up. You can choose if you're able to kill other players. You can make it so that you can kill randoms or non-allies, but you can't kill your allies. Like, you got options here. So, in my opinion, the PvP in this game is a lot more fun than in Ark. Okay, now that I think about it, there's not really a difference between the, dang, what am I, I'm having an epiphany here, guys. I'm having a real moment, because I'm now realizing that I like 7 Days to Die multiplayer and PvP, but I don't like Ark PvP at all. But it's the same darn thing, because I was going to be like, oh, well, no one's going to wipe your base in 7 Days to Die, blah, blah, blah. But they will. If they find it, they sure will. They'll take everything you have, and they'll bleed you dry. But that hasn't happened, I guess. The only time that I've played PvP has been with people that I know, so we sort of have that gentleman's agreement of, if I catch you out in the wasteland, I'm going to rock you and drop you, and I'm going to take everything you have on you, but I'm not going to, like, hunt you down and try to actively find your base and wipe you, you know what I mean? This game isn't a game that, to be honest with you, is really the end of the world, because if you do get wiped, most of the stuff that you can accumulate and acquire, like, you can get it back pretty quickly. So it's not like it's the end of the world if you do get wiped, I guess. The only thing that would suck is the harvesting that you would have to redo. But all of us that are listening to this podcast don't mind grinding, because we all play Ark, which is one of, like, the grindiest games in the world, right? And okay, so night gets spooky. We talked about that. So at about 10 p.m., it's in military time, so 2200 is when the zombies get all cuckoo-cuckoo. And then 4 a.m., I think, is when they stop. You'll know when it's done, because, like, it plays this chimey music. I'm not gonna break your ear holes by singing to you, but it makes this, like, very distinct chime that indicates to you that the night is over and that it's going to be a little bit less sketchy. The neat part about it is that your actions in this game actually determine whether the zombies are drawn to you or not. So if you think logically about it, Walking Dead style, you know, you make a giant bonfire, the zombies are going to come. If you're shooting your guns, the zombies are going to come. If you're banging on an anvil, they're going to hear you. So, like, everything you do in that game, they consider it heat, if you will. And you give off a heat map, and the zombies are able to determine how much heat within a given area. It's like this big, cool, long mathematical equation. Those of you that are coding nerds, you guys would totally appreciate it, because it's like, for conversation, a campfire does like 8 heat, and crafting a bullet does 12 heat, and shooting a gun crafts 100, and like all these things add up. So if I'm mining a tunnel and Steven is practicing shooting his sniper rifle, I don't know, at a steel beam, and we're doing all these things and crafting and cooking and like everything's going on at once, we're going to have a heat signature of like 200 plus, and that's when you're going to get special infected. You got like screamers, you got spider zombies, there's all sorts of crazy ones that I can get into in a different episode, but I kind of want to save those ones so I can talk to Jericho about it. I'm just sort of, doing basic information here. One of the toughest things that you're going to have to manage in this game, aside from zombies, is managing all of the elements of survival. So you have to manage your food, you have to manage your water, you have to manage sicknesses that you get. And if you have been following any of the conversation in the Discord, some of our friends here, gosh, I don't remember if it's Dodo maybe, always apparently has dysentery. So like, you got dysentery. We're talking Oregon Trail status, poop your pants level stuff here. And you get that from drinking dirty water. So you have to actually collect murky water, and then you have to purify it, whether you cook it on a campfire, you put it through a water purifier, something has to happen for it to become a consumable beverage. And once you do, you're able to drink it, and then it won't make you sick. If you do get sick, they have different types of medications. So there's like antibiotics. There is honey that acts as an antibiotic. So if you get bit by a zombie or hit by a zombie, you actually will start to become infected. Once you hit 100% infected, it kills you. You become a zombie. Not really, it just kills your character, but that's the logic behind it. And you have to actually take these medications. Dysentery is another one that you can cure up with some medications. There's different teas that you can make mid-game, I would say, like different herbs and stuff like that can be combined, and they have different medicinal effects. So those of you that are really into the crafting aspect of Ark and really like, because we had an episode where we talked about custom recipes, and those custom recipes are not existent in 7 Days to Die, but it's like the same general concept, you know what I mean? Of you can flip through your recipe book as you raise your cooking level, and you can be like, oh, tuna potato takes this, this, and that, and okay, I can make that. And meat stew, it takes this, vegetable stew takes that. I really like to make steak and potatoes for Steven and I, because that is one of the things that it heals you. It gives you lots of food, and then there's like certain drinks and stuff that are better for different circumstances. And again, we can get into all that where we do a comparative episode comparing Ark recipes to 7 Days to Die recipes. But I'm just trying to create associations to like show you guys the crossovers and similarities between these two games, if that makes sense. Now, going back to what I had said you could do on night 1, this is kind of similar again, I would say, to Ark. Like, you've got, if you know anything about Ark lore, you have a few tribes that have sort of, hunkered down, created some awesome defendable fortresses, and, like, made their territory theirs. And then you got the nomadic style tribes that are moving around constantly and never really make a big permanent installation. They're more bouncing from place to place, taking their stuff with them. Kind of, I guess that's more of a PvP play style. But those are the two main mentalities in 7 Days to Die. There's the nomadic play that Joe Daddy is the one person that I've seen pull this off like no other. We did a PvP server, and his logic was that he can never get raided, and he can never get wiped because he will never have a base. So he literally only owned what he could carry on his back, and then he had like a random sketchy little hidey hole that he was able to stash like a random handful of things. But basically his entire playstyle was, I only obtain what I'm consuming, and I only have what I need when I need it. So like that nomadic playstyle worked really, really well for him. That stresses me out. In Ark, in 7 Days to Die, in all survival games, I take them way too seriously for that, and I'm more of a settler. I want to build me a beautiful compound. I want to put up concrete and steel walls. I want to live underground where I can't get bothered. Like, I want to hoard and compile, and I want to be the most prepared doomsday prepper on the entire planet. That's just how I enjoy playing survival games. So playing Ark, I catch myself doing the same thing, you know? We'll have the tribe storage for everyone, and then I've got my bedroom storage where I like to store a stack or two of everything, so that way if someone says, oh, gee whiz, I really need silica pearls, I can say, hey, go into the green cabinet in my room. You know, stuff like that. So I like to play 7 Days to Die the same way. I'm a big settler. I'm not going to be bouncing around from place to place. I want to have one permanent, very well-defended installation. So, like I said, big survival game, so you got to manage your food, got to manage your water. When you're managing water, got to avoid sicknesses. Food will do the same thing. There's like canned food that you can get, and the canned food can make you dehydrated. It doesn't fill you up very much, you know. That's like one of my big complaints about 7 Days to Die is when you're hungry, you know, Ark is the same way, I guess. If you're hungry and you want to play a vegetarian character, guess what? It's time to smash 400 Mijo berries. And in 7 Days to Die, if you want to fill your food up in the early game, guess what? It's time to smash 12 grilled steaks. That also makes you very dehydrated as well. So, like, these things sort of play into each other. If you're going to go someplace, you need to consider what food do you have? How much water do you need? Like, how far are you going? Will you get infected? Will you be engaging in combat? If you're going to engage in combat, will it be indoors or outdoors? Will it be close quarters? Will it be, like, within melee range? There are so many things to consider, and that's what I love about this game. You know what I mean? It's got the element of caving in Ark, but in every single exploration scenario. You know, when you go into the caves, you know for a fact, like, dang, there's going to be bats. The bats are going to give me mega rabies. There's going to be Arthrolepura that are going to break my armor. There's going to be spiders that are going to restrict my movement. Guess what? In 7 Days to Die, on every single exploration mission, if you are leaving your base, I don't care if it's just to go outside and chop down some trees to get some wood. I don't care if it's to go collect clay right next door. If you leave your base, there is a very good opportunity that you will face a lot of these same creatures. There can be special infected, there can be feral infected, and there can be white zombies anywhere. The white zombies, the best way to describe that is if a crackhead outside the 7-Eleven injected themselves with all of Mark McGuire's steroids, like all at the same time, and then got really, 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 really grumpy about some spilled milk. It's terrifying. They're giant, angry aliens, and not really aliens, but they look like aliens. We always referred to them as aliens. I didn't know they were called whites until recently, but they're sketchy, long story short, okay? And these creatures can come out at any given time. There are the police zombies that will vomit on you, just like an Arthrolepura, right? But they can completely disintegrate concrete blocks. They can explode your vehicle with their puke. Like, they do massive amounts of acidic damage with that vomit. And if it gets you or your vehicle, that's bad news bears. If you're standing too close to, like, I don't know, a wall or something and they puke on you and they blast out that wall, then guess what? Hellhounds and dogs and wolves can come through the wall and get you, because there are actually infected animals in this game as well. These animals cause massive amounts of bleeding when they get a hold of you. That sucks. They're pretty spooky. Some of them are pretty hard to kill, not gonna lie to you. And then, there's so many things. Everything wants to kill you in this game, dude. Not even joking. So, like, not only are there infected animals, there are non-infected animals, huntable animals, right? There are mountain lions, there are coyotes, wolves, there are bears, dude. And these creatures will attack you. Bobcats will attack you. Like, will attack you. There is no maybe if I crouch and get around it. Like, no, if they notice you are there, they're going to hunt you down and they're going to swipe you, and they're tough to kill. Some of them are, you know what I mean? Like the coyote, not so tough to kill. It's going to nip you once and run away. But the mountain lion, that bad boy will stand there and go toe-to-toe with you, and you better have a gun with you. A bear especially, you better have a high-caliber round, or you better, like, have something. Put blocks down as you run away. You got to do something, man. So, like, I guess if Minecraft took place in Australia where everything wants to kill you, right? It's kind of like grown-up Minecraft in a way. Like, the block style animation is very similar. As you break a block, it's, you know, got that cubic shape to it, if you will. All the building blocks are cube shaped. So like that's the main premise of it, if you will. But, you know, a lot more to it than Minecraft, obviously. Well, Minecraft is pretty in-depth. I shouldn't knock it. Anyway, long story short, everything wants to kill you, and you're going to face all of these extreme challenges that you would through caving every single time you leave your base. Like I said, I can reiterate it all day. But if you guys haven't played this game, like, just go watch a video about a horde night. Go watch a video about some of the POIs that are being raided, and like all these crazy things that are going on. I'm learning something new about this game every day. And I think, honestly, maybe that's what's drawing me to it more than Ark at the moment. You know, I had made that comment before of I did everything there is to do in Ark, you know what I mean? Short of, there's like a few creatures that I haven't tamed, and I didn't get the Master Zoology achievement, and I don't think I found, like, I don't know, I think I found all the Explorer notes, but I didn't hit the max level before they upped it and stuff like that. So there's like very, very minimal things that I hadn't fully finished, but for the most part, I've beat the game and done everything there is to do. Now, 7 Days to Die, this is all new and exciting. They have new POIs, they've got new zombies, like, they have changed so many things in this game that every single time I pick up my controller, I learn something new. Every single time I open up TikTok, there's something new and exciting that I didn't know before that I would, you know, be happy to try to take advantage of in the game, you know? So, like, it's exciting right now. That's what I'm trying to ramble on about, I guess. But this game is much more heavily looting based and much more exploration based than Ark. You know, you obviously have to fly to different portions of the map. My cat is, what the heck? My cat is falling through my recording booth. Give me 1 second. Alrighty, we're back now. My cat was literally like ripping through my booth and falling through the ceiling like a face hugger coming out of someone's chest. That was entertaining. What was it talking about? Oh, Andy just fell off the roof. Alright, anyway. Okay, so, oh yeah, this game is really like looting based, okay? So in Ark, obviously, you know, you gotta fly around to the mountain to go get your metal, and you gotta fly to different portions of the map to collect certain specific resources to then craft things. Well, this game is completely different. You can find the individual pieces to a handgun in a trash bag, in the dresser, and in the stove for conversation. Or you can get really lucky and you can open up a minivan and find a fully fabricated high-level machine gun. So, like, the looting in this game really depends on your perks and is highly, highly beneficial to you. You know, you're not going to be able to get to the same level in the game nearly as fast if you stay in the same town as opposed to if you, you know, branch out and search every building of every town, because you would be amazed at the stuff. Like, this game is heavily RNG based, so all of my RuneScape fans out there, that's random number generator, we got to pray to RNGesus. And those are the types of things where it really, like, if there is a trash bag on the ground and I have all of my perks put into Lucky Looter so I get better things, it's way better to let me open up that trash bag than it would be to you, because that's not going to have the same things in it. If you look in the trash bag and you're the first person to open it, it generates that loot when you open it. So it could have 3 pieces of paper in it and a cotton seed or a marigold seed or, you know, some random piece like that. But if I come up with all my perks and I open it up, that's when you could find 100 rounds of ammunition or a fully fabricated pistol. There's all sorts of crazy things that you can get, and it's not going to be the same for 2 people. So I can go through and loot a building, take all the things from it, and then 5 days later when it regenerates, I can come back and re-loot it, and it's not going to be the same thing 5 days later. Even for me with the same perks, same person, you're not going to get the same thing. Think of it like when you go to the arcade and they've got that like little spinny wheel thing, you know, and whatever number you land on is how many tickets you get. It's kind of like that, where you have a small percentage chance. You got a 1 in 100 chance for it to be this, a 1 in 10 chance for it to be this, a 1 in 2,000 chance for that. And like, if you get lucky, you get lucky. So if you are one of the people who really likes loot crates and gets satisfaction out of finding extremely rare things while looting and opening up crates, then, this could be the game for you because that tickles that gambling fancy, if you will. Man, all right. That's like, that's the gist of it for the most part. And I can get into more crossovers and we'll talk more how things compare and contrast in future episodes, but I just kind of wanted to touch a little bit more on the game so that way any terminology or anything that I'm telling you guys in the future, you guys at least, know what's going on and I don't sound like a total crazy person, I guess. But if you didn't listen to this full episode, then I'm still going to sound crazy and that's okay because we're all crazy here. Gee whiz, guys. I'm sorry. My brain's melting. I worked like 12 and a half hours today. And yeah, we had an event for work. I didn't even talk about that. So like we had an event for my work where the local university is basically allowing a lot of local businesses and like stuff like that to branch out to the students. And it was a big like set up your table and we had like a spinning prize wheel and you spin the wheel, whatever it landed on, you got to take home with you. We did not have super exciting things. It was like sticky notes and a pen and hand sanitizer and like a bottle opener and drink koozies or bottle sweaters, whatever you want to call them, wherever you're from. But like we had stuff that is practical stuff, but nothing that people are like, oh yeah, because we were right next door to KFC and Taco Bell and right across from a place that was giving away free popcorn and like all these things that people were really, really stoked about, and we were just kind of there. So it was fun. Yeah. I am not a people person. You guys probably have figured that out for the most part. I do my thing. I'm social. I'm a social guy, but I'm not a people person. So when you have 400 to 500 people that are coming up and I have to say the exact same thing 500 times, it gets exhausting. So my brain has melted. But I guess a little update on me. Classes are clunking along, taking a whole buttload of credits for college and doing my best to try to stay up and stay afloat for that, as well as balancing work and all that fun stuff. So it's been a lot. Haven't really played a whole lot of Xbox, especially in this past week, actually. I haven't really played much Xbox at all, but I am looking forward to, as soon as I get off this recording, dang, it's like 10:30 at night already. Well, I've got a choice. Do I play Xbox or do I go to the gym? Gee whiz. The world may never know, but I gotta make a choice. All right, folks, you guys have a great week, and I will see you all next week with Jericho back. All right, folks, take it easy. Love ya.